Victoria Bank, like many of its competitors, are striving to be leaders in technology innovation. Whilst their competitors have chosen to mainly invest, Victoria Bank has opted with the acquisition of startups. 10 technology startups have been acquired in 3 years. The aim of the acquisitions being to have more control and ownership over any IP and resultant products developed. However, there are considerable costs and resources required to govern 10 individual startups. The decision was made to consolidate all startups into one daughter company, Vic Innovate. A byproduct of this merger will be centralised functions, specifically marketing, products, R&D and HR. These functions will be led by Victoria Bank's senior management team as the new heads of division, including me as head of HR. The following people management challenges have been identified in the early planning stages. These are in the areas of groups and teams, power and politics, organisational culture and communication. Industry experts have been engaged to provide advice across these 4 issues. Thank you. My role has been to evaluate the area of groups and teams from the perspectives of the employee, the manager and the CEO. The main issues identified are that established teams may need to merge with other teams, report to a new senior management group and share company resources. A good framework that we can apply to evaluate this scenario is Tuckman's model. It identifies the following 5 sequential stages of development that occur with new group formation. These are forming, storming, norming, performing and adjourning. In forming, employees share enthusiasm, fear and uncertainty as they begin to interact with other team members. It's the manager's role to recognise these reservations and provide strong direction and leadership. The CEO should ensure open communication about the direction of the company and the purpose of the merger in this early stage. The storming stage sees employees begin to assert themselves and turf battles may arise. The manager should focus on the team's goals and coach individuals around strategy. The CEO should also reinforce the overall purpose of the teams. In norming, the team begins to emerge as a cohesive unit. Trust between team members is developed and there is efficiency as a team. Managers begin to provide constructive feedback and criticism as well as review output. The CEO's role is to support the new standards that are being created and the roles developed. Structural issues are now resolved in performing. Confidence grows both within individuals and with other members of the group as effort is directed towards a common goal. Both the manager and CEO need to begin to future plan as well as recognise achievements. As the task is completed, employees may experience a sense of loss or relief. Management and CEO continue to future plan as well as reward success. Final recommendations are that managers empathise with employees through the different stages and effectively engage the CEO. Understanding Tuckman's model will facilitate the merger as new teams are created at Vic Innovate.
The second topic is organisational culture. Let's define that. It is a set of beliefs and assumptions on how it's like to work for us here at Victoria Bank. It portrays our personality, our purpose and core values to the wider public. So, what is the image we want to portray? The computing values framework is useful to help us understand organizations and how they function. In this framework proposed by Quinn and McGrath, organizational cultures are categorized into 4 groups. They're clan, adhocracy, hierarchy, or market. This corresponds to an adhocracy culture for the startups and the market culture at Victoria Bank. The adhocracy culture values flexibility and discretion, whereas the market culture values stability and control. Both culture types are congruent with an external focus, which forms a starting platform for cultural integration. What are our problems of organisational culture in the next 18 months? First, the implication of subcultures, given all 10 startups are consolidated to one daughter company. Secondly, an us versus them mentality, as all heads off will come from Victoria Bank. As the CEO, the biggest challenge is assimilating the different organisational cultures and get everyone to work in unison. The direct line manager's role is to bring the employees on a journey and effect culture change to achieve person-organisation fit. As for the employees, they'll be asking, what's relevant for me? If the organisation mission and purpose isn't clear, people will find meaning and purpose for themselves and reinforce a subculture. Therefore, as senior leaders of the company, We can have artifacts such as cool t-shirts to promote one team and drive a common goal. We should also consider office fit-outs to foster collaboration and agile environments such as shared workspaces and community areas. Finally, we need to think about the IT infrastructure that will facilitate new performance requirements and desired way of working. Here are some recommendations to keep the momentum going in integrating the different cultures. First, set clear directions towards our vision, role model behaviors, conduct periodical surveys to assess people's connectedness to the organization, consider new performance management systems to reward the right behaviors and conduct. We need to decide on the models for behaviors to demonstrate our purpose and values so that we'll portray the desired image to our customers, attract the right people, preserve our culture, and see our share price soaring.
Thanks, Paul. My name is Robert Ryan, and today I will be going over the key people management challenges with respect to power and politics for Vic Innovate, as well as suggested solutions to overcome these problems. The key power and politics challenges for Vic Innovate are: firstly, the ability of management to exercise power and achieve greater control without stifling creativity and innovation, and secondly, creating internal conflict as a result of the organisational politics. The first problem identified is that by Victoria Bank needing to obtain greater management control of Vic Innovate, this will be achieved through the exercise of power. The power will be used by Victoria Bank to ensure that startups adopt their policies, procedures and tools, exposing Vic Innovate to stifling creativity and innovation of the startup. In order to mitigate the effects of the new policies, procedures and tools, it is suggested the organisation foster empowerment of the existing key staff. This enables the key staff to have the relevant authority to ensure compliance with the new requirements while still having a focus on the required level of innovation within each of the startups. The second problem identified is the creation of internal conflict as a result of organisational politics. Combining multiple companies into one and placing a layer of centralised management invariably creates conflict as a result of organisational politics. If done incorrectly, this can create a level of conflict between staff members. It is suggested that Vic Innovate adopts a direct democracy style. Direct democracy is where everyone has an equal right to rule and is involved in decision making. This is the ideal political rule for Vic Innovate, as it allows each staff member to have a say in how the organisation is run, enabling buy-in and a sense of ownership.
The final area to be covered is the communication strategy. We will cover three key challenges, which is stakeholder management, consistency of message, and the buy-in of the changes that will happen. Stakeholder management is the ability to provide effective and timely communication with different stakeholder groups. This will be an imperative part of the successful transition into Vic Innovate. There are four main groups of stakeholders: current employees and current managers of Victoria Bank, the board executive of Victoria Bank, and the current customers and suppliers of the technology companies. Each stakeholder will require tailored communication. We must ensure consistency of message. All pieces of communication should also promote the overall purpose of the merger, which is to provide customers with valued technological outcomes which will ultimately provide value to the bank. All communication will be vetted for consistency across the initial 6-month period. The use of positive stories will be used to communicate to all stakeholders. Communication will be provided to ensure buy-in of the change. We will do this through different mediums, including staff information sessions, regular electronic updates, one-on-one meetings with key personnel, and availability of frequently asked questions in relation to the merger. These multi-channels will help to tie into the importance of having direct democracy, providing opportunities for stakeholders to respond directly to key decision makers. As managers generally overestimate the required frequency, Victoria Bank will monitor staff to gauge feedback on the effectiveness and timeliness of the communications. The application of these techniques will help to overcome the challenges that will face Vic Innovate. In summary, new teams must be formed and announced as soon as possible. Tuxman's model has demonstrated that there are a number of stages to be moved through before the groups will start to perform at their optimal level. In respect of power and politics, we must adopt a direct democratic style of political rule throughout the merger. This will allow all parties to have a voice, increasing the buy-in to the new structure and reducing the opportunity for power plays by individuals. In terms of our organisational culture, we need to develop a corporate strategy that is underpinned by an external focus. This strategy will intersect between an adhocracy culture and market culture by having a focus on our customers. And finally, we ask you to endorse our communication strategy. This will ensure a consistent message and to allow the implementation of our democratic style of leadership. The communication strategy will also support the rollout of the new teams. The commencement of Vic Innovate will continue to create challenges, some of which are yet to be identified. Our plan may need to be adjusted over the initial 6, then 12-month period. However, the fundamentals of our plan will provide the foundation for a successful merger.